You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Coffeyville's historic downtown could see a transformation, all thanks to a grant.
Also, storm season could also bring offers of free roof inspections, but the General BBB says beware.
And speaking of storm season, getting our first taste of it now. We've got thunderstorms out there. A severe thunderstorm watch is in place. Details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warder, just after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, March the 4th. So we're going to get to this in just a moment. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that went into effect not long ago. Parts of southwest Missouri, northeastern Oklahoma until 11 a.m. And we are monitoring some intense thunderstorms in eastern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to all that here in just a moment.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Well, a grant program in Coffeyville hopes to revitalize the city's historic downtown. Now, funding is available for local business and property owners to make improvements with a goal to preserve the area's historic nature.
KOAM Samantha Walker explains how city staff hopes the program could bring new energy to downtown.
City of Coffeyville staff say they hope to preserve the downtown area's historic nature through the use of grants. 6 grants of up to $20,000 each is available for local business and property owners. Those awarded are required to match any grant by 25%.
We really want the downtown to look appealing to help attract and keep people in the downtown. So this year, that's the plan. We will adjust again for the next year, and we'll keep making changes, all for the benefit of our downtown revitalization.
The funding comes from a tax increase voters approved in 2022 and continues through 2032. The city manager says he wants the program to be a partnership between the city and community members.
We don't want to come in and just assume we know what's best. We're here to create and have partnerships to get this effort done.
Lydia Bryce is a small business owner. She says an appealing and thriving downtown is important for a community like Coffeyville.
It's discouraging to walk through a downtown that there's nothing going on. People feel kind of like it's a ghost town almost. And so if you can revive the community, it also builds community spirit.
City staff say they hope the grant program will do just that, encouraging visitors and locals to go downtown.
We want those people that are living there, working there, stopping by to shop to feel at home, feel like a place they want to stay.
Bryce says the grant program still requires a big investment from small businesses, and the 25% match may be a hurdle. But she hopes the program inspires improvement in whatever ways possible.
Especially communities with history, it's worth trying to save the buildings and help the business owners and actually reviving a community.
Reporting in Coffeyville, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Well, the spring round of applications closes March 15th. The fall round opens in June.
And you can learn more about the grant program and how to apply on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. As I mentioned, we got thunderstorms rolling through the area, and we are going to take a look at all of that right now. First, quick look outside. Been seeing some impressive lightning here on our downtown Pittsburgh camera. So again, right now we do not have any active warnings in our immediate area. But the lightning is still dangerous, still deadly. I know a lot of folks, you're heading out to work, you're heading out to school. You need to take precautions. You need to be smart because this lightning, it doesn't need to be a severe thunderstorm for that lightning to be dangerous. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Got some heavy rain that's been rolling through the Joplin area, and so that will continue. And then we're watching these severe thunderstorms out there. So here is our severe thunderstorm watch, which includes Southwest Missouri. So we're talking Berry, Lawrence, Jasper, Newton, and McDonald counties, Benton County in Arkansas, and then Delaware and Ottawa counties into northeastern Oklahoma. But what we are keeping an eye on is what I'm going to walk off here and I'm going to show you. It's these thunderstorms that are down across parts of northeastern and eastern Oklahoma. Give me just a moment here. Again, it's a very active situation down there, and it's because of that we have this severe thunderstorm watch that's been issued. You can see a line of very intense thunderstorms lifting off to the north and to the east. It's been moving at approximately let's say 35 to 45 miles an hour. And if you'll give me just a moment, everybody, I'm just making sure we're not missing anything new on some of this data. So again, these warnings not in our immediate area, but this one here near Choteau is just clipping south central Mays County. This activity is going to continue to lift off to the north and east. That's why we have this severe thunderstorm watch. Outside of that, we are getting some thunderstorms with a fair amount of lightning around Columbus, Joplin, Carthage, and Pittsburgh. So we do need to be cautious, do need to watch out. And of course, we're going to keep you updated on these storms as they continue to lift off to the north and to the east as we go through the morning hours today. On top of that, a quick reminder, we have high wind warnings, southeast Kansas, wind advisories everywhere else, because outside of storms and what they could bring, we could see damaging wind gusts not associated with storms pushing 40, 50, 60 miles an hour at times. So a lot to keep an eye on. Not to mention this rain eventually turns into snow tonight. We'll go over all those details with you in the full forecast. That's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, tornado season is here, and Kansas and Missouri are observing severe weather preparedness week from now until March 7th. Emergency management teams will be promoting safety throughout the week with an emphasis on different weather disasters each day. Now on Wednesday, tornado sirens will sound across both states as part of a statewide drill, encouraging residents to practice their emergency plans. Officials urge everyone to stay prepared by knowing the signs of severe weather, having a safe shelter, and keeping emergency supplies ready. And with the arrival of severe weather season, there's always a risk of damage to your home. Now, that risk can also bring the danger of scams involving free roof inspections. And while legitimate businesses use this to reach new customers, scammers can also take advantage of it. Now, if a dishonest company or person shows up, they'll usually say they're working on a neighbor's home or they noticed your damaged roof. Now, if you accept their offer, they may fabricate damage or show you photos of someone else's roof to get your business.
You need to be really careful with those unsolicited calls. Someone might call you and tell you, make it almost sound like a guarantee that if there's a problem, your insurance will cover it. But you always want to confirm with your insurance company, if you think you have damage, what they will do and what steps you need to do to make sure that you are covered.
Regional BBB also says to be wary of offers, especially after a big storm. Also, do your homework before hiring any company. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Charlene shares a great recipe to start your day. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Our good friend Charlene Patton joining us here once again from the Kansas Soybean Commission. It's March, it's springtime, it's getting close enough to springtime, and it's also a very important month with the Kansas Soybean Commission, and this one I think is one of my favorites. It's Bake and Take Month. What exactly is that?
Well, the Kansas Soybean Commission is joining with the Kansas Wheat Commission in really promoting Bake and Take. And Bake and Take is where you bake something and take it to somebody. It's just such a wonderful service project for families, for kids, to bake something and then take it to a teacher, take it to a coach, or maybe a neighbor that you haven't seen because it's been so cold outside.
Right. You might forget you had neighbors, but oh yeah, I
That's
remember
right.
them. So
you could also take some things to a nursing home.
Absolutely.
Call ahead and ask them what guidelines that they might have. We also have recipes on our website for pets. So maybe take some to the local pet shelter and do that. So just a great opportunity. We're going to start out with our soy flour blend in here, and we have that recipe on our website, but it's easy to remember for here because it's 7 cups of all-purpose flour with 1 cup of soy flour.
Okay.
Put that together and put it in your flour canister, Chris, and then you're getting the benefits of soy every time you bake.
okay.
You have 2 cups, I believe. Yes, 2 cups of the soy flour blend in here. You're going to add sugar, baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, and some salt to that and stir it. Okay. In here, I have soy sour cream and 2 eggs that I'm going to mix together. I'm going to add to that while I'm mixing 1 cup of mashed banana. And there's just something about a banana muffin. It's so moist with the banana and all the goodness of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we have our soy margarine here. We'll add that in. Well, you're ahead of me there. I'll go ahead and stir this.
Well, it's all right. I can slow down the stirring here. Just make sure we get it just right.
Last month we were talking about doing things with our kids in the kitchen, and boy, there's wonderful guidelines we have on our website. It's called The Thrill of Skill, and it shows what age different children can do different tasks. And that's really a nice guideline for parents, and we will provide that this month too. Okay, you're doing good. So I'm going to just pour this in. You could just keep stirring.
Yeah, okay.
That'll be great.
I can do that.
One of the things for a tip with muffins is that you don't want to over mix them. So you want to just have the kids mix it till you don't see any flour. Now, when that's done, mixed up, we're going to put that into muffin tins.
Okay.
You can either use paper liners or grease your muffin tins. And then we have this special streusel topping that goes on top of each muffin. We have mixed it with some sugar, some little soy nuts, and flour, and our margarine all together.
Okay.
We'll put that on there and then bake them, and we're baking this at 375 for about 20 minutes. Have your kids use a little wooden toothpick or a wooden pick to stick in there so they can see that it's done. If there's dough still on that when you take it out, better put it in for a couple more minutes.
See, and that's a good lesson to learn as well, because that'll be something handy for them down the road.
That's right.
If they're ever baking at home or baking for their friends. So, and of course, we'll mix this, you mix this
You did
more.
great. You did great.
But yeah,
there's our muffins there. You can see that streusel topping on them. And it makes 18 muffins.
Wow.
So you have a little plate that you could take to several people.
Yes, you certainly do. And of course, if people would like this recipe or any of the others that we're featuring, where should they be going?
They should go to kansassoybeans.org, or you can also call our 800 number, 877-KS-SOYBEAN, and we'll mail them all the recipes for March.
Excellent, Charlene. Thank you. And of course, if you missed any of that, don't worry. It's going to be on our website as well, KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:17 now on this Tuesday morning. And of course, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch for Jasper, Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence counties in Missouri, Benton County, Arkansas, and Ottawa and Delaware counties in Oklahoma through 11 o'clock this morning. What is new this morning is a severe thunderstorm warning that is now in effect for a good portion of the southern half of Delaware County. This is through 8 o'clock this morning, and this is for severe thunderstorm with winds, damaging wind gusts of about 60 to 70 miles an hour. And this particular storm here is moving off to the north and east at about 55 miles an hour. So we're going to take a look at it on radar, and we are going to draw that line off to the north and east. And we're going to make the adjustment and tell this computer that it is moving at about 55 miles an hour. And we're just going to kind of follow this whole line off to the north and east. So that's going to put it in Grove at about 8:08, Pineville by 8:32, Monette, if it holds together, by 9:11 this morning. Again, this is all that we have active in our area right now, but this is what we were discussing earlier with these storms across northeastern and eastern Oklahoma. It's a very intense line, and while the instability here is not as great, we are looking at that possibility some of these storms could overcome that, and that's what we are starting to see, again, especially into Delaware County. So here's a look at these storms in motion as this whole thing continues to lift off to the north and to the east. Now, the other thing we want to talk about, too, is lightning. We've had a lot of lightning with this cell that's rolled through parts of Jasper, Cherokee, and Crawford counties. So it's still heavy rain out there, and there's also some concerns about flash flooding in areas that are prone to flooding into Newton, McDonald, and Berry counties out there, because this activity may not move that fast once it gets up here. It might slow down a bit, so it's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Our severe weather outlook for today, not much change other than it's trimmed some of our far western counties out of these risks, but we still have a low tornado threat, a low hail risk across the area. The other change is that elevated wind risk has been adjusted just about to match what we're expecting with this particular line of storms as it continues to lift off to the north and east. So here's what we're looking at. Here's that line. By noon, it should be dying out, at least on its way out, but it won't take long before we see additional thunderstorm development. And these storms this afternoon could be strong to severe themselves. So that's something else we're going to have to monitor as we head into the afternoon. Now, to the evening, we lose that instability and it starts turning into just rain with some rumbles of thunder. And then we start to see opportunities for snow across the area as well. And we do have winter weather advisories, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. While we're not expecting much in terms of any accumulations out of this for most of us, we are monitoring that potential for some blowing snow, which could lead to reduced visibilities, and of course slick spots as we head into Wednesday morning. It'll be very cold, very windy today, tonight, and tomorrow, and we'll start to finally clear out by tomorrow afternoon. All right, wind advisories in the tan color, high wind warnings in this yellowish color. High wind warnings, winds could gust upwards of 60 to 70 miles an hour. So we're talking damaging wind gusts outside of thunderstorms. Within the wind advisory, still could see those winds gusting 40, 50, even up to 60 miles an hour, which is why blowing snow is a bit of a concern. And our northwestern counties could get a couple of inches on grassy surfaces. That's why we do have those winter weather advisories up there as well. Highs today about 60, down to 30 tonight, low 40s tomorrow, still breezy. 30 Wednesday night. By Thursday, back to the mid-50s. Warmer weather kicks in as we head through the rest of this week. That's a quick check of your forecast. We'll continue to monitor these storms. We'll bring you the latest. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, the game of poker is making its way into the workplace.
A passionate card player teaching employees how to master strategic thinking on the job.
Tina Kraus has the story from London.
Check or bet, please.
When it comes to poker,
Raise to 200.
Jo Living knows her way around the table.
Raise to 5.
The British entrepreneur fell in love with the game on a trip to Morocco nearly 10 years ago.
And I'd actually just beaten 200 men to win my first international poker tournament.
That big win gave Jo a big idea. She started teaching the male-dominated game to her female friends.
And quickly saw them growing in confidence, closing client deals and landing promotions.
Shuffle forward a few years, and Jo founded Aces High.
Okay, shall we go around this way?
Her company runs poker workshops to empower employees, especially women, to raise their game.
People think it's about bluff and bravado, but actually it's a lot of female skills. There's so many skills from the poker table that are transferable to the boardroom table, from negotiation, communication, deep listening.
You got a bit of a makeover in the office today.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. I wouldn't mind having a poker table in more often, to be honest.
Managing Director David Minard says he's all in if it helps his employees play their best hand at work.
And I really love the idea of taking the game of poker and thinking about how that can translate, how we can learn about ourselves and hopefully, develop our own skills of communication and reading other people.
An ace and an ace.
Head dealer Jimmy Chautemain, who's dealt the World Series of Poker, says he loves bringing the game to the workplace.
I have got the best seat in the house, so I never lose.
But here, there's no cash at stake.
So for a chocolate?
It's all about betting on yourself, no matter what kind of hand you're dealt.
Now, Jo is looking to franchise her Aces High workshops across the UK and eventually into the U.S. Certainly an interesting way to work on strategic thinking and planning.
Pretty cool, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun too.
I'm sure it is.
Well, coming up, area school districts turn their eyes to the sky as severe weather season approaches.
And speaking of severe weather season, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in Delaware County. Well, the latest on all of that when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Elise Snowy. The city of Pittsburgh is moving forward with plans for a new multi-million-dollar water treatment plant. The current city-owned facility is around 65 years old, and recently Pittsburgh received about a $60 million loan to make the project a reality. The new plant will increase capacity and bring the facility into compliance with their new permit. The plant director says the facility helps purify water to promote the health and safety of the community, including a large industrial manufacturer they supply water for.
We hope that this new plant will serve the community for many decades to come. It's kind of a generational project where it meets permit compliance and environmental safety for years to come with expansion and growth of our community.
Now, the project will take about 2 years, and the city hopes to begin construction in May. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, the Sunshine Child Care Center in Pittsburgh kicked off a week inspired by Dr. Seuss yesterday. The Learning Center says it's planned a week filled with activities taken from some of the author's popular books. Now, the center started the event with a nod to the book One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish by encouraging everyone to wear red and blue.
It's just kind of about getting them engaged with the reading. So the children love when others come out and read to them, and so sometimes they'll sit on their laps, or they sit next to them, or they'll sit across from them, and that just kind of helps promote them to read along with them.
The PSU football team got in on the Dr. Seuss tribute by reading to the kids at the center yesterday. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
A quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Still got some showers out there, but starting to ease up a bit. We've had quite a bit of lightning with these storms as well, so definitely need to play it safe as you're heading to work, heading to school this morning. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Cloudy, rainy out there as well. What we want to look at now is the Skywatch storm tracker. So there is a look at what we have. We still have the severe thunderstorm watch. Jasper, Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence counties in Missouri, Benton County, Arkansas, and Ottawa and Delaware counties in Oklahoma. This runs until 11 a.m. We also have severe thunderstorm warning into the southern portions of Delaware County through 8 o'clock this morning. It does include the city of Jay. And it's associated with this intense line of storms. It still has severe thunderstorm warnings with it, but as you can see, thankfully at this point, all of the tornado warnings have been allowed to expire down there, but we still want to watch all of this very closely as it continues to lift off to the north and east at about 55 miles an hour. So if we track this up here, we're still looking at Grove by 8:12, Jay by 8:05, Monette by 9:16, Pineville 8:36, Mount Vernon 9:28, eventually reaching its way into our area as we go through the morning. As again, all of this continues to lift off to the north and east. So this activity, though, is not the only activity we have to watch, as we could see redevelopment this afternoon. So we do have a low tornado threat, low hail, and a low to elevated wind risk across the area, because this line, again, isn't the only round we're going to get. This line moves out or is weakening by noon, and then behind it we get redevelopment of new thunderstorms, and these could be strong to severe all on their own before eventually late this evening and overnight this ends up turning into snow. And we do have, I want to mention, high wind warnings most of southeast Kansas, wind advisories elsewhere. Wind gusts southeast Kansas could be 60-70 miles an hour. So we're talking damaging wind gusts outside of any thunderstorm chances. And then for everyone else, winds could gust 40 to 60 miles an hour outside of the thunderstorm chances. We'll have another look at your forecast, break down the advisories in place, and what else we're expecting this week here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, severe weather season is rapidly approaching, and many area school districts will start tornado drills. Now, those drills are for warnings issued during the school day, but what about warnings issued when students are already on the bus home? Well, Chris Warner spoke with 2 local districts on how they handled those last-minute warnings.
The 4 states is no stranger to severe weather, and local school districts have plans to keep students safe.
The best place for our kids and our families are in the shelters and the safe rooms. So if we can keep them all there for as long as possible until the danger is past, that's our first priority.
For years, we've had severe weather late at night or on the weekend. However, severe weather has also hit a few times during the school day, leading district officials to change tactics to keep everyone safe. Last year, a tornado warning in Newton County came minutes before the school day was out. With kids still in school, they moved to shelters, and parents waiting to pick up their kids were allowed inside the school safe rooms. But what if that warning came unexpectedly?
We try to use every resource we have to try to anticipate not only track but also timing of the storms to anticipate, we want to keep our kids in place. Obviously, we don't want our kids out going into storms. We also don't want our families going out in the storms.
Kyle Baldridge with Miami Public Schools says if significant severe weather is expected, sometimes they'll plan an early dismissal, but that isn't always possible.
If we get a tornado warning 10, 15 minutes before school's out or, before buses run, we're going to hold kids. We will hold our students in their location that they do where they go for their tornado warning, and we're going to hold them till that warning lifts for our county and for our area.
Tornadoes can form with little to no warning. So what happens if a warning is issued minutes after students are dismissed and buses are already on the road?
Whichever the safest or closest safe room is to the bus, if they can make it based on what the radar is showing, that's where they will go.
Miami has a number of rural routes that its buses run. Baldridge says they have a similar plan.
It's Oklahoma. Weather is unpredictable a lot of times, and sometimes you get caught out, and that's when I said, we will just communicate with them, get your kids to shelter as soon as possible, wherever that might be.
Both Baldridge and Harding say safety procedures are always under review.
How we did things 10 years ago with the storm shelters is not the same way we'd probably do them today. And we just learn those lessons every time we have a situation.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM Skywatch Weather.
Now, both districts say while the weather situation can change in an instant, they feel they're prepared for whatever Mother Nature sends their way. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll look deeper into how allergies could be worse this spring. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, a social media platform founder could be joining a group bidding to take over TikTok in the U.S. Alexis Ohanian, who co-founded Reddit, is reportedly planning to join a group led by billionaire Frank McCourt to buy TikTok's assets in the U.S. Now, McCourt says Ohanian provides experience on the social media industry and where it's headed in the future. McCourt first submitted his bid in January. President Trump is pausing military aid to Ukraine, according to a White House official. Now, the order comes after the Oval Office spat with Ukraine's President Zelensky on Friday. An official says the pause applies to all military equipment not yet inside Ukraine. Now, that includes shipments of critical munitions previously announced by the Biden administration. Officials noted that pause could be lifted if Zelensky shows a new commitment to negotiations to end the war. Well, the cost of cars and groceries could go up soon, according to many mainstream economists, and they say it's due to new tariffs President Donald Trump plans to impose. Now, President Donald Trump confirmed Monday that he is staying the course in placing 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports and a 10% additional tariff on Chinese goods, bringing those levies to 20%. All this to go into effect at midnight, which, as planned. U.S. markets began to react soon after the announcement. Sherelle Hubbard has more on what it all means.
It was all smiles as the closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange rang Monday afternoon. But the closing board read differently. The Dow Jones average tumbled 650 points as the tariff deadline drew near. Many economists fear goods like groceries, electronics, clothes, and cars will increase in price, leaving investors worried. The tariffs on the U.S.'s top three trading partners, Mexico, China, and Canada.
Tomorrow tariffs 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, and that'll start.
On top of last month's increase, a 10% hike on Chinese imports will be applied, bringing the percent to 20%. Canada is expected to react.
We will have a strong, unequivocal, and proportional response as Canadians expect.
Although U.S. companies will ultimately be responsible for paying the tariffs, some people say new tariffs could be good leverage.
The key would be no tariffs. But to get there, there's a negotiation. He's starting that negotiation.
The Trump administration argues that tariffs will stimulate U.S. production.
So what they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
So the idea is come to America, build greatness in America, build for the American customers in order to bring production to America.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back. Hello to the KOAM Morning News. You're probably still seeing us, but we've been taking some power hits here in the studio. So I lost my little screens here for a second, but I'm sure you're still seeing us just fine. So that's the thing. We don't have significant severe weather really taking place in our area. In fact, the storm in Delaware County is beginning to weaken a bit. Still a severe thunderstorm warning down there. And we still do have the severe thunderstorm watch that you see in the orange, and that runs until 11 a.m. And the severe thunderstorm warning Delaware County continues through 8, but those winds were initially at 70. They are now down to 60. So here's what we've got. Just getting quite a bit of lightning with this activity. In fact, just doing a lightning count here between Cherokee, Jasper, Newton, and Ottawa counties puts it at 22 strikes. So again, if you're heading out this morning, you need to be careful. You need to be cautious. Lightning is still dangerous, still deadly. Regardless of what the storm itself is doing. But you can see the whole area now really getting in on this thunderstorm activity. Osceola, Stockton, Greenfield, you're up next. Nevada, it is knocking at your door. Same in Butler. But no severe thunderstorm warnings for the bulk of our area. The only one we still have is right there for a good portion of Delaware County. But you see how this line has really just kind of become... It's not as organized as it was earlier, and especially as it is, if you see down to the south, it's a little more defined. But the northern edge here, we just don't have the same amount of instability in our area that there is to the south, and so that's working in our favor. But that watch is in place because it is still a possibility that this storm could hold together or could try and re-intensify as it lifts off to the north and east. So if it does so, that path does take it through Delaware, McDonald, Benton, parts of Newton, Berry, Lawrence County. So we're talking Monette, Mount Vernon, Cassville, Neosho, Seneca, Pineville, Anderson. We want to keep an eye on it because if it holds its own, we're going to be talking the possibility of additional severe thunderstorm warnings. So we've got to contend with all of this for right now. And then we're going to see additional storms later today. So with the exception of far fringes here, so just barely part of our area not in these risks, we do have a low tornado threat today. We still have a low hail risk, and other concern is that low to elevated wind risk, with the elevated really along and south of I-44. The wind is an interesting situation. We got to separate, and I'll separate it here in a moment for you. Here goes that line. By about noon, it should either be in a weakening state or already on its way out of here, but it will not take long before we see additional redevelopment on the backside of this. These storms will have a potential to become strong to severe as well. And as I mentioned earlier this morning, really this afternoon is our slightly better chance of seeing strong to severe thunderstorms, but these are going to be scattered. So it won't be a line like we're experiencing right now. But still, we've got to watch this as we head into the afternoon. Then we go into the evening hours, and look at that. Yeah, that's snow, because it's the 4 states, so why not? In fact, up around Kansas City to Topeka, blizzard warnings in effect. This rain transitions to snow, so we've got a wintry mix, some light snow out there. Could get a dusting on grassy surfaces in most locations, but believe it or not, we have winter weather advisories where you could get 1 or 2 inches of snow, primarily on the grassy surfaces. The other concern is it's going to lead to slick spots on roadways across the area. So a reminder, high wind warnings, that's what I'm talking about. We have the damaging wind threat within the thunderstorms. We also have damaging wind threat outside of thunderstorms. High wind warnings, gusts here could be 60 to 70 miles an hour, and in the wind advisories, anywhere from 40 to 60 miles an hour. And then here's a look through 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, those winter weather advisories in the northwestern counties of southeast Kansas. Today, again, the thunderstorms breezy today, tonight, tomorrow, 60, 30 tonight. Colder tomorrow, very windy, but clearing, drying out. Cold tomorrow night. Back into the mid-50s Thursday, and we'll continue to warm heading into the weekend and next week. We'll, of course, continue to track these storms for you. If any new warnings are issued, we will certainly let you know. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, the first day of spring, or the spring equinox, is Thursday, March 20th, and forecasts estimate much of the nation is in store for severe allergy-inducing weather.
Now, medical experts say you should be using the time you have left to prepare before the pollen really starts exploding. Ted Linder takes a closer look at how you can bolster your defenses.
While the chirping of birds is a welcome sign spring is approaching, this upcoming season may also be marked by plenty of sneezes. The Old Farmer's Almanac is forecasting warmer and wetter than average conditions for much of the country. Doctors say weather like this can trigger terrible allergy spells for millions, as flowering plants have more time to produce and release pollen. Health experts also warn this projected surge in temperatures is part of a larger allergy issue.
Seasonal allergies seem to be increasing with time. One of the hypotheses for this is that we actually are having less differentiation between our seasons as the global temperature is rising, and so people don't necessarily get that relief that they used to have in between season changes.
Early prevention is your first and best line of defense.
I advise people to start treating or preventing their allergy symptoms about a month before when they usually have trouble. The most common allergy treatments are antihistamines and corticosteroids.
Doctors also advise going outside at times when there's less pollen in the air.
Middle day is a little bit less allergenic than the earlier and evening hours.
But if your symptoms are severe from being outdoors,
after you've been exposed to the allergen, trying to get it off of your body. So washing off your face or taking a shower can help be an avoidance measure.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Allergies, of course, a very serious situation, man. I've been lucky. The worst I've got is grass, and that's really only if I am freshly mowing the lawn.
I'm a mess, and so I'm not looking forward to that. But you know, just gotta take your, your Claritin, your Lagerty, whatever it is you like to take, or go to the doctor, whatever it is.
Certainly so. We're going to give you a quick update on what we've got outside. We still have the severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock. The county's in orange. Some good news: the severe thunderstorm warning has actually been canceled in Delaware County, so that's some good news. But this watch does continue through 11 a.m. We're getting a lot of lightning with these storms. The station's taking a few direct hits here. Take a look. In fact, I know I've only got about 30 seconds here, but I am somewhat curious, and I'm sure some of you folks at home are as well. Just right here into Cherokee, northern Newton County, or northern Ottawa County. It's not a lot, but it's concentrated in a small area, so it's something we're still going to watch these storms. We still have the potential for strong to severe weather as we go through the day. Now, this line may not bring us really that much in terms of severe weather, but we're going to see redevelopment on the backside of this system this afternoon, and that could bring additional threats for strong to severe thunderstorms later today. On top of that, high wind warnings and wind advisories across the area. In the high wind warnings, winds gusting 60, maybe 70 miles an hour. Outside of that, could see 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, so damaging winds outside of the storms. Well, one more look at your forecast and news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Pittsburgh is moving forward with plans for a new multi-million-dollar water treatment plant. Recently, the city received about a $60 million loan to make the project a reality, and the new plant will increase capacity and bring the facility into compliance with their new permit. The project will take about 2 years, and the city hopes to begin construction in May. And Kansas and Missouri are observing severe weather preparedness week from now until March 7th. Emergency management teams will be promoting safety throughout the week with an emphasis on different weather disasters each day. Tornado sirens will sound across both states as part of a statewide drill this Wednesday. And with the arrival of severe weather season, there's always a risk of damage to your home. Now, that risk can also bring the danger of scams involving free roof inspections. Now, while legitimate businesses use this to reach new customers, scammers can also take advantage of it. So do your homework before hiring any company. That also means you should shop around.
All right, a reminder, high wind warnings in southeast Kansas and wind advisories outside of that. In those high wind warnings, damaging wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour outside of thunderstorms will be possible. And then the wind advisories, winds could be gusting 40 to 60 miles an hour. We also have winter weather advisories through 3 a.m. for some of our northwestern counties, as this rain will eventually turn to snow for all of us overnight tonight. Biggest concern, rather, heading into tomorrow with the snow is going to be slick spots out there. So your thunderstorm watch does continue for some of us through 11 a.m. And of course, we'll continue to monitor these storms and the potential for redevelopment later this afternoon.
Alrighty. Well, many aspiring gardeners took the opportunity to learn the basics of growing their own fresh produce yesterday. A free beginner gardening class took place at Joplin Greenhouse, offering valuable tips for both first-time gardeners and those looking for a refresher.
Now, participants learned everything from choosing the right location and improving soil health to planting, caring for crops, and harvesting. Experts were on hand to answer questions and provide practical tips to help people build a successful garden. And if you are starting your successful garden, we're getting some rain for it, but you want to make sure it stays well watered as well. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We'll continue to monitor the storms through the morning. We'll break in if anything is necessary. We'll see you otherwise back at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.